Alright lads, so today finishing up the new character showcases for the end of year banner, we're here to check out potentially the prize of the banner, that being 1000 year Blood War AIZEN. Now our third 1000 year Blood War AIZEN, but technically the first anime 1000 year Blood War AIZEN, since the two that came before him were based on the manga. Now, AIZEN has been a little bit greedy this year, getting 3 characters in particular, and it might not even end anytime soon, since we do know that we are going to get 3 characters from the final season of 1000 year Blood War later this year, and for all we know, AIZEN could be one of them. But if we have a close look at the actual character in terms of the model here, obviously it is going to be an upgrade, and also colors are changing to reflect the anime. The chair is now grey instead of looking wooden. The model overall has been upgraded, you can definitely see that in the hair. And I think I do like the lightning effect that is coming off of AIZEN right now, since when AIZEN is in the chair, the only thing you see this character do is emit spiritual pressure and purple-like effects. While I do like the black smoke that AIZEN did have originally, I think with how the anime does look, the purple lightning does fit the character better. From a model standpoint, he looks a bit smaller. I think that's more so due to the chair now not having stilts at the bottom. But I guess this time around, he's actually noticeably sealed to the chair through the hands. The old one was just kind of sitting on it for just aura farming, I guess. With that said though, AIZEN himself is a Technique Storybook Captain Killer Plus unit. So this character in a way is replacing Senjumaru as the go-to Captain Killer. But fortunately, what we are seeing with skills nowadays is that even though he does have a Captain Killer, he's not restricted to the Guild Quest game mode. But why exactly is that? Well, what you're going to see here is that he has a lot going on for him that does warrant an end-of-year character. Unfortunately, something Shunsui does lack is Frenzy Plus 3. It's one of the problems I had with Senjumaru last year, right, is that she was given Frenzy Plus 3, but only in Guild Quest. Fortunately, AIZEN is going to have good damage output everywhere, because he does have Frenzy Plus 3, more damage at full stamina, strong attack damage increase, more damage to dominated enemies, and of course also a spiritual pressure boost that also does get increased through duplicates with his EX skill. The character has a superior strong attack too, dominates on every attack, which is a really good stat element to have, especially for Limit Breaker content. And then you also do have an EX move that is a Vortex-like attack, which is really good because, again, the character here just wants to provide good crowd control, but inflict dominate. This EX move, I think, is going to be more noteworthy when the character is up against non-Soribers, so he at least has an attack to rely on to inflict stat augments. I also do like that he does have Sprinter Plus 2 as well, just for overall more mobility. Like Shunsui, besides Frenzy Plus 3, the only thing he's really lacking here is immunity to every stat augment, which isn't that big of a deal, but would have been nice, and also Long Stride, but as he is a Technique character, you can use 1000 Year Blood War Yoruichi as an EX skill to give him Long Stride. That way, through bonus abilities, you can give the character full stamina damage and also damage to dominated enemies. So that's something worth talking about, right? This was recently added when this character did get announced, is that finally after a year, we have damage to dominated enemies as a bonus ability, and it's actually pretty good at 30% instead of the usual 20. With that said though, like always when it comes to building the character, keep it simple, T-set, fortification pill, and also a strong attack damage badge at 5-star plus, and then as much recharge, strong attack damage, full stamina, etc. as possible. But again, if you do have Yoruichi, definitely use that for more strong attack damage, but also long stride built in. Alright then, so first up, let's take the character into co-op, mostly just to showcase the character's strong attacks and also visuals, which might be the best part about this character, and it's the one thing I didn't like about the character that we did get during the 7th anniversary. The 7th anniversary AIZEN artwork is in the chair, Sobom is in the chair, but everywhere else he is standing. This one actually had the balls to keep the character in the chair. It looks a bit goofy when you just walk, the walking animation itself, because technically he can't move, is him technically flash stepping. It's weird looking, but I'm here for it. It's super funny. And ultimately the big reason why I wanted a core 3 of 1000 Year Blood War AIZEN. With that said though, strong attack 1 is the AoE in front of him. His SA3 is a full screen, which I really do like the visuals, by the way. It's simple visuals to a certain extent, but exactly what you want with an AIZEN that is literally tied, stuck down to a chair. And I believe the SA2 is a full screen in front of him. The SA3, let's use it again. It's hitting hard. It's definitely hitting hard. You definitely notice the Frenzy Plus 3 in this case. And then we also have the EX move, which is basically Hado 90, like the visuals of it. And it is a Vortex move. Now, with that in mind, talking about the walking animation, to be fair, most of the time you are moving in this game, it's when flash stepping, so you don't even really notice the walking flash step animation, if that makes sense. Because a lot of times you are flash stepping, so it kind of looks like he is just stuck to the chair, like this, you know? With that said, Sobom. And honestly, I really do like the Soul Bomb. I've seen people hate on the Soul Bomb for some reason. Don't get it. I think it actually looks really good. And maybe better than the anime. I mean, obviously, it's one-to-one. The anime, there is a few differences. This scene in particular is different. This scene is the same. That scene is the same. But this final shot is a little bit different. I think it just makes the Soul Bomb look a bit better for a game instead of just going one-to-one with the anime scene, you know? So right now, based on our first playthrough, he has everything going for him. Good damage output, good skills, good strong attacks, and me personally, good visuals. I will say though, regarding AIZEN, one of the weirdest parts about this character is the normal attack string, which you're not going to use much, but the normal attack string itself doesn't actually have him move forward. So to my knowledge, he is the first melee character that doesn't walk forward with a normal attack string. That is something that is usually just for range characters because it makes sense. And I guess in this case, it also does make sense that, yeah, he literally can't move in his normal attack string. I think he does have good range for normal attacks, but that's something just to keep in mind. When you do use your normal attack string, you have to be pretty close to the enemies because you're not moving forwards. With that said, though, let's just go for a decent clear here. Unfortunately, the enemies did hit us. I don't think it's going to hurt our damage output that much. Doesn't seem like it. Let's just use the SA or EX move there. I think we can get back up to full stamina, but we'll do one more run and go for a better run this time. But right now, AIZEN does feel good. In that case, Rukia was a Sniper, so we did inflict Dominate. And instead of hitting us, we went instantly for the enemies. Like always, though, content like this, which is relatively easy, you're not going to notice the Dominate as a stat summon. And we can't showcase the character in Epic Raids today. But unfortunately, he's also make sure to move forward to grab that HP box. But we can't really showcase him well in Epic Raids. I don't want to, mostly because he can't inflict Dominate. Dominate is a really good stat summon. I really do like it. I love that we are getting a lot of characters with said stat summon, but unfortunately in Epic Raids, you cannot inflict Dominate whatsoever. So that does mean the character's damage output, like with every dominated character, is going to be heavily nerfed. Fortunately though, Shuntui isn't the same attribute, so you can just use both characters. But that's even more of a shame because Shuntui does buff AIZEN. Would have been cool to use both of them in the same team. In Epic Raids, and both of them can do a lot of damage, but that's not really the case. Let's finish our final run. This time, though, let's actually try and get a much better score. Let's go with SA3, then SA1. You have to use a few extra strong attacks there since the enemies are all split apart. Let's just use the EX right now to group those enemies together as we wait for our other strong attacks to return. One shot Aaroniero, you love to see it. Hopefully, I can group everyone here. SA3 does take down the boss, though. No, it didn't, but the SA1 it did there. And the strong attack 1. Strong attacks are coming back as fast as you would like them to. And then in this case, Soul Bomb. And then all we have to do now is grab the Soul Bomb and finish up with Hado 90, which this character, I guess, has 3 different Hado 90s in his kit. His SA3, his EX skill or EX move, and also Soul Bomb. I also, by the way, do like the sound effects that we do here in the Soul Bomb. So let's see what click that we are looking at. Should be around 30 seconds. In that case, as expected, pretty much the fastest you can get, 34 seconds. Maybe with a few strong attack positioning changes, we can get sub 30, but overall, pretty fast. Next up, though, let's take the character into guild quests. So right now with AIZEN, you have a few ways you can build him, and a few different team compositions that you can use instead of what I'm using here in particular. So for example, right now, the 3 go-to leads are going to be the new AIZEN. He's going to have the easiest time since he does have attribute advantage, and also 200% resistance to paralysis. Senjumaru is unfortunately being nerfed a tad bit here, since she doesn't have 200% immunity, and she also does not have attribute advantage against the final bosses. But the HP isn't that high, so she should be fine, especially if you do have duplicates and good sides to go with her. When it comes to Unohana, she also doesn't have 200% resistance, but you can also just remove the stats on the pulse on the floor. But interestingly enough, I'd be curious to see how this team does go. I'm not using it personally, but you might want to use Senju as a main, and then AIZEN as a side, and then also use Nanao or Shuntui for the team effects. That way, both Soripers are getting buffed by the buffs that Nanao and Shuntui do give. They give the same thing. Nanao just has added bonuses of giving extra normal attack damage. But if you were to use AIZEN and Senjumaru in the same team, you are going to be lacking a team booster, and that is the benefit of maybe using Senjumaru as a main, as she does provide a team boost through the EX skill. I'm going to keep it simple though. Strong attack damage character, normal attack damage character, support character. When it comes to AIZEN, we are going with these 3 accessories, these 3 soul traits. Personally, I'm taking advantage of my max transcended Shuntui, although to be be fair, 42% strong attack damage is at base with the recharge. Honestly, should work fine. My Toshiro is max strength in it, so he will be doing a little bit more damage. Not too much though, because we can take his damage output higher, but he is going to be the team booster. And keep in mind with Toshiro, he is not fully immune to paralysis. So depending on where you are at in the attribute tree, if you have upgraded the paralysis resistance slot, which is near the end of the page, unfortunately, I'm like 2 to 3 days away from it. You can just give him one accessory to make him fully immune. So, for example, you could just give him the Manju in exchange for a Chappie, for example, and then be fully immune to paralysis instead of what I'm having to do now by giving him a soul trait, Shuhei, who's quite an old character, and also a bonus ability to get that 200% paralysis immunity. When it comes to the now, she's just basically here for the Mugetsu soul trait, again, the 30 SP. The barriers and heals will be nice. And then we also do have the team effects, in this case, the 30 SP, the 30% more damage to enemies afflicted by an ailment, and also, to be fair, more special move damage. Alright, then so jumping into it, let's see how AIZEN does do. So let's try and group all the enemies up, then use our SA 1 and 2. Don't think we got a stat as straight away, but that's exactly why we have Toshiro in the team. SA 1 and 3. Going into Shunsui, let's EX, group them all together. I love AIZENs that have... Oh, we didn't even group in Shunsui. That's my bad. But I love AIZENs that have vortexes. He's very similar to the 6th anniversary AIZEN that released earlier last year. And then going into Kenpachi. That's SA1 and then SA3. Some leftover small mobs, unfortunately, which is ultimately slowing our run down. But at least the damage against the main boss here was actually pretty good. Going into the X-Wave, this way it's going to be super easy once we do inflict thousands. So there we go. Dominate has now been inflicted. Kenpachi is going to go down super quick here. The damage is crazy right now on the extra stages. Let's use our SA1. Okay, looking good. SA3. Slow us down a bit. Do we have a boost active? I can't tell. I think we do. SA2. SA1. And then a pretty easy first attempt. 15 seconds to spare. Didn't get a status proc there, but that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad. Obviously, as expected with any new character, you aren't going to struggle that much to clear the new content. I mean, it depends, to be fair, but AIZEN obviously is going to have no issue clearing this. Even if we didn't get the fastest score for our first attempt, we do clear first attempts. And I think, if anything, the best part about AIZEN right now is that he does have options. You don't have to go with this particular team. You can try a lot of different options, even bring in technique boosters, for example. All right, jumping into our next attempt, let's see how this does go. So SA1, SA2 does take down all the enemies. Unfortunately, not too much damage on Jushiro, but again, he is a power enemy here. SA1, then 3. Little bit of leftover mobs, unfortunately. But going into Shunsui, let's group them all up. Super easy wave 3. Can the Vortex keep going into the next wave? Yeah, that's what you love about the Vortexes there. Really good waveform. And then Soul Bomb. Or not Soul Bomb, SA3. Kind of confusing it there. Just the small mobs right now slowing us down a little bit. But that was a little bit better. So that's the benefit with characters like this. Kind of similar to 6th anniversary AIZEN, the remake when he first, came out. Where he would absolutely destroyed the GQ. Kind of missed those days, to be honest. But his Vortex was able to go to 3 waves, which is crazy. But to make the most out of AIZEN's Vortex, you definitely want to make sure you kill that wave as soon as possible. So the next wave can get grouped together, right? And then SA3, SA2, SA1. Pretty easy thus far. Even more time to spare. No problems whatsoever. So far, yeah, we're getting faster. We're getting faster. Admittedly, it's not the best team. I know characters like Bambietta and also Misaki do exist. I just don't own them. So you could actually definitely make a better team that consists of just team boosters to bring AIZEN's damage output up. So with this team, we are kind of missing out on 20% more damage. All right, then, so jumping into our next run, here we go. SA1. The SA1 does a lot of pushback for some reason. Not the fastest wave 1, but we can make up for it. Really good wave 2. Group them in. SA1. There we go. That should group everyone together again. Not everyone, but good enough. Okay. And then SA3. Into the 144 there. I'm counting that as a 44, even though not entirely. But we are getting faster. So let's just make quick work of the EX stages. Should be relatively easy here. And to be fair, I guess the best part is that we don't need to rely on them. What's like damage character? since AIZEN is pretty much doing all the damage here. We're even faster right now. And then we finish up with 23 seconds to spare. So for our next run, let's actually try that team I was mentioning. So again, you are probably better off using Misaki, Bambietta, for example, but I don't have any of those characters. What I do have, though, is Giselle. And Giselle is basically what they have, but a bit worse. She does have a strong attack 3, but she's not guaranteed to use it. Instead, she might just use her strong attack 1. But we also do get that 20% damage boost after 15 enemies defeated. So it's not as good as Misaki. It's not as good as Bambietta, the Orient version. But it's still good enough. And right now, it's probably the best thing that I can use to further boost AIZEN's damage output. So let's see what AIZEN does do this time when we just strictly rely on our damage output. And keep in mind, it does get better from wave 2 onwards. So that's when we do get the buff from Giselle. So SA3, see really good damage there. That was much better. SA2, or EX, sorry, into the Soul Bomb. Okay, I think that was fast enough that we should group everyone together. Never mind. We are noticeably doing more damage, though. Just some extra leftover mobs, unfortunately, which right now is killing most of our runs. Going into Kenpachi. SA2, SA3. I think there's a lot more potential with this run. So this is our final run. Let's see how this does go. Good positioning for the mobs. Unfortunately, I don't think we had a drain proc straight away on AIZEN. Let's use our SA3. Then 1, so really good wave 2. Group them together. SA1. Again, good. I don't think it's enough, though, to get into the next wave. Let's use our SA2. Dominate, unfortunately, does drag the enemies all over the place. So there's definitely potential with this team. I'm definitely expecting more so, this team to easily score like 50 seconds at 2 out of 5. I'd love to do that like I showcased in the Shunzi showcase, but again, unfortunately for my AIZEN, only 1 out of 5. So I can't try out a 1 out of 5 build, a 2 out of 5 build, a 3 out of 5 build, for example. But AIZEN right now, pretty good in GQ. Definitely a lot more potential than what we're showcasing here, I will admit, because I don't have the best team. But as expected, he is going to be good in this guild quest. Even if your goal is to not clear all 5 waves super fast and the EX waves, he's definitely going to allow you to clear all EX waves relatively easy, regardless of the team that you do bring with him. And he does also have options to a lot of team options, right? You can use a lot of different characters here, more than we showcased today. But as expected, he is going to be a good character in guild quests. But with that said, that's the video for today, checking out the brand new AIZEN. Again, would love to try him out in Epic Raids, but we can't really do that due to the Dominate status limit. And we will upload a second video later today, showcasing him in Limit Breaker quests, where of course he's going to be a really good character in that. For the guild quest he's designed in, of course he is going to be really good, better than what I showcased here, because I don't have access to his best team. And I also like resetting all that much to try and get the best possible run. For these showcases, like always, I go in, I go out, and we get what we get. But other than that, for this character, he's super fun. I really like the idea that it is a core 3 AIZEN. I did say when this character got announced and revealed, I would have preferred a different character over this AIZEN just because we just received 3 AIZENs in the last 7 months. Maybe I would have been happier with this character coming out in like 4 months from now, but maybe they've done this character now because they have plans to do a core 4 AIZEN during the 11th anniversary. Regardless, though, he does live up to the expectation of a 1000-year Blood War AIZEN. Super fun unit with the fact that he's actually in his chair. I mean, that's the best part about him. Good visuals to boot, and overall, good skills. I don't think he really has a wasted skill here, any bad skills per se. Like always, I would prefer Long Stride, but again, with Yoruichi, we can just give that as an EX skill through her Soul Trait. Overall, strong unit, nothing to really complain about, like we've been talking about Shunsui for the last 3 days. Let me know what you'd like to think about this character in the comments below. I'm over enjoying my time with him. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace.